This week on Hermitcraft. Welcome to the Hermitcraft Recap. My name is Pixelriffs, our writer is SlyXP, captions on this video were provided by Liara, and the server is on fire! We don't mean that physically, like the actual server hardware is on fire, which we're pretty sure has nearly happened in previous seasons, and we don't mean that they're firing on all cylinders, which of course they are, but that's not exactly news. What's news is that after who knows how long, the Hermitcraft server has re-enabled the fire spread game rule. So we give Season 11 a week before everything wooden is a charred heap and everyone reconsiders where they place their lightning rods. We kid, of course, these are professional Minecrafters, and they are sensible enough only to agree to it if everybody knows the consequences. Either that or they'll turn it back off in a couple of weeks and blame it on Etho like they did with the Nether spawn point. And speaking of that Nether spawn point, Gemini Tay has been elected to create this season's Nether hub. Voters rejoice. It bears mentioning that this season's hub will be built inside the Nether cavern, both because then it will show up when the eventual world download gets ported to Bedrock Edition, and also because this time it doesn't have a postal system to interfere with. So before the whole thing burns down, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with DocM77, and nobody is more excited about the return of natural fire spread than DocM77, although he still finds a non-destructive way to set Scar's dinosaur on fire. He does it with armor stands.
Fire, yes. It doesn't look like super realistic Minecraft-wise, but good enough to spook Scar a bit. Okay, let's put a few around.
Oh no! No! No, base burn! Oh my god, help! Wait. Oh, this means war, Impulse. Not with you.
Scar.
Not with you, Impulse. This means war with another man.
You get him, Scar.
Oh, dude, I am going to.
And he still has a few left over, so he sets Mumbo's house on quote-unquote fire for good measure. Having cheesed the Wither, been bullied by the breeze, and pacified pillagers with pathfinding, Doc builds a kind of ice cavern outpost around a redstone device that's clearly being concealed so that Mojang doesn't know what it does. And with good reason, because apparently what it does is remotely damage any player Doc wants to damage on the server.
I tested it on myself and it worked successfully.
He demonstrates this with Rendog after some ritual beheading we're not certain is even part of the process. It might just be smoke and mirrors with an armor stand voodoo doll, but once Doc flicks a lever, Ren finds himself taking damage seemingly out of thin air. Doc explains his plan was to build this device at the end of Season 10 just to put the squeeze on the entire server in the hopes of tracking down the Ore Snatcher, but now Good Times with Scar has confessed, Doc intends to just threaten him with grievous harm at any given moment. Although given Scar's tendency to lead the server in number of deaths, statistically that doesn't seem too different from any other day.
Can bypass all these shenanigans and get straight to torturing Scar. I guess, I don't know where this is leading, man.
With fires springing up all over the server, it's a good thing Pearlescent Moon has stepped into yet another public service role. After being the postmaster last season, Pearl aims to be a firefighter.
And you honestly already might be wondering, how am I going to be a firefighter on a server that doesn't usually have fire tick? We typically have that off. And, well, again, this season's no different. Fire tick is not on, so it's not going to spread.
Now, when this decision was made, fire spread was still off, so she was justifying the position with the many other tasks firefighters perform in their community. And you can tell she's used to just taking a casual approach to fire when she walks past some flames while visiting Gemini Tay.
Yeah, because Mumbo put a sign
Oh,
where his viewpoint is. I don't know why stuff's on fire. I don't know why.
But one training montage and a fire truck time-lapse later, Pearl is suited up and ready to respond to emergencies.
I know you're putting out fires, but you are so hot. That's awesome.
She does get a little more practice at ignoring fires when she travels to the Nether to recruit a Happy Ghast into the Hermitcraft fire service.
Ow, I forgot water doesn't work in the Nether.
But its first task is to help her build a connecting bridge across a nearby river. By the time the dynamic duo are done with that though, the server has voted to turn fire spread back on. So it's a good thing Pearl has built a second fire truck to back up the first, and also provide a bit more storage space.
I love this setup. Wait, I gotta put me in there. The horse is leaving. Where are you going?
With nothing up his sleeves, Rendog continues to deliver magic, although sometimes magic gets delivered to him in exchange for saplings, as Mumbo hands over his first magical item, an enchanted hoe.
That's perfect, Mumbo. That's way more than I expected. I was expecting just like a cool block or something. This is awesome, dude. Thank you. It's a Mumho Jumho.
Personally, I can't believe he separated it from the Mumbic Jumbic, the Mumbax Jumbax, the Mumboard Jumboard, and the Mumbovel Jumbovel. Sometimes we write these things before I realize I'll have to say them out loud. It seems equally silly to write about Azuma offering to be decapitated once he realizes Ren needs his head to conduct more magic. Although that isn't even the magical item Azuma delivers. That shows up later in the form of a picture-perfect prank in which he has conducted alchemy, turning the element of air into the element of fire.
Wait, it's got unbreaking on it? What the heck is this?
Yeah, use it to jump up in the air.
Ow! You are the worst!
That probably explains why Ren builds such an expansive irrigation system for the wheat field around the Mumho obelisk. He's just thankful for a place to extinguish the flames.
Then that harmony is perfectly shown in what has happened here.
So we have to talk about Joel's smallish beans, in no small part because he starts his episode like it's a Twin Peaks scene.
Hello, everyone, and make sure to subscribe. Please, 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 please.
Hopefully we won't have to wait 25 years for the next Joel video, even if something Lynchian would actually explain what is going on with him this season.
And say everything is normal and everything's fine.
Unfortunately, what hints to that we do get is a reference even more niche than the Black Lodge shenanigans. That one's at least something from a TV show, whereas this next bit is a reference to an honest-to-God My Little Pony internet creepypasta fanfic.
This is a perfectly normal thing to do, is to slaughter horses to make a rainbow, because that's perfectly normal.
Luckily, we've dodged a Kaufmo basement ending, because that's not what he does down there yet. See, below his happy, fun home doused in optical dispersion, Joel digs up a basement laboratory that converts dead horses into rainbows. You can only get there via the secret passage, which we have to mention just for the fun of calling something in a public YouTube video a secret. Regardless, we look forward to the next time he loses all of his items in lava and builds something inspired by Jeff the Killer.
I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just playing this out. I'm pained. And you know what? I just logged out. I logged out. That's what I did.
Anyway, False Symmetry builds a horse stable, and boy is it nice to mention something stable on this server. The base shaping up at False's place is quite fun in that we know it has a bamboo farm and horse storage in it, despite us not having a clear idea of what it is False is actually building over there. You have to hand it to her, whatever it is, she's framed it rather nicely in high contrast custom terrain, made of moss and assorted deeper colours. Rare to see deep slate brick be used as a natural block, is all I'm saying.
This is where we are. It might not look too much different, but we've really expanded here a little bit, added a bit more of the greenery just to merge it out into the normal terrain for now.
Hypnotized goes the opposite route and actually uses logs to build a log cabin. This does not sound as unexpected as it actually is, so just bear with me here. We have to appreciate that it's stripped logs too. If this were XP crafted, all of these would have been shelves, yet here he is, sauna maxing. Now, actual saunas will be quite tricky on the server since Firetick is on, if only so that Gemini Tay can rightfully incinerate the floating tree at spawn.
This is Hermitcraft. Why do we have a little day one hut, a ton of horse holes, and a floating tree? I mean, seriously, Hermits, what is going on here?
This makes Pearlescent Moon's chosen role of a firefighter seem a little more necessary, and in all fairness, since she took up the moniker, Good Times with Scar's dinosaur has been set on fire, Joel Bean's burned to death, and Gemini Tay has learned to break bedrock. So things have been sort of escalating, and there's plenty employment for volunteer first responders and their cats. Gem specifically has been playing with fire department, as her skin artist confirms the tattoo on Gem's art is actually a very small pixel art of a dragon. But also playing with fire because she signed up to build the Nether Hub for the season. This is quite the task since the Nether Spawn, and the World Spawn actually, is set not only in a Nether Fortress, where all sorts of enemies will keep spawning on whatever blocks you give them. That Nether Fortress is also within a Crimson Forest biome, so hoglins and pigs of all kinds are on the menu as well.
To add insult to injury as well, Hoglin waiting for me on the bridge, of course, so nearly die again instantly, get past it.
So Gem has to first and foremost dig up the cube for the hermits to hide in and cover it in slabs for good measure.
I thought you were going to say, do you like my Nether Hub? I thought this was it. I thought this was the finished thing.
It's functional, so it could be, right?
True. Yeah, just be done with it now. That'd be so
Yeah,
funny.
I wash my hands of it right here. This is where I leave it.
Anyway, there's a much bigger trash fire when Jem, along with Grian, gets to witness 3 different redstoners come in and try to make a golem-powered item sorter.
You need to... Etho has crafters work.
Ooh, boy.
It's okay if you don't know. No one seems to know.
Well, not like this.
Grian needed a melon and pumpkin farm for his villager trading, and to his credit, other than crafting the melons into cubes automatically, that whole project has been a rousing success. The villagers have been eaten every which way and ready to provide heavy discounts. So when it's time to filter out the melon slices for future unslicing, it's surprising that it takes him, Jem, Etho's Lab, and Cupfan135 to not force a copper golem to just put the thing into the crafter.
Crafter here, crafter here.
Really fast.
Why do you need 2 crafters? Even I can see that seems silly.
You need 2 to get 1 to work, okay?
What? Why does that make sense?
B00 gets it. B-dubs, Redstoner extraordinaire, figures it out, and this whole bunch didn't. None of us know why it required a target block at any point, though. This feels like dunking on them, but it's genuinely just what happened.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
What?
B-dubs?
What?
Oh, I did it. I did it.
I called you over here as a joke!
Redstone. We understand it.
Regardless, Grian has been excellent in his relearning to mass trade with villagers, and his efforts eventually earned him enough glass to actually fill in the Bargian arch leading into the base cave. And we would be remiss not to point out that it kinda looks like a loaf of bread.
Look, I started planning out the villager trading room and I just haven't been able to stop, and I realized that I'm doing that thing where I forget that this is also my job.
One person notably missing from the B00 Golemancer arc was Azuma Void, who's grown into quite the golem specialist, both as someone who knows his golems and someone who is a golem himself. Observe, a copper golem will follow an accessible chest unless it suddenly becomes not accessible, and you can stop it by putting a full block over the chest. So this one golem, Azuma tricks into running around between 2 separate levels to keep his chicken cooker running, because otherwise the pathfinding would really not figure out that a bubble column can be a road upwards. Sure, there already are things in the game that move items downwards for you, such as hoppers or gravity, but X has chosen to animate his cave dungeon with robots, and so he just keeps digging this hole, metaphorically and literally. A question therefore arises: with enough shenanigans, wouldn't copper golem mechanics resolve good times with Scar's storage issues that chase him across the years? The answer will not surprise you, as Scar spawns in a small army of the little guys, and they very much just make the situation worse. Clearly, not enough shenanigans have been applied.
And the only reason I'm not in a furious rage is they're so cute. Look at them. You can't be mad at that little fella and his little eyes.
While the golems reposition his unsorted pile of possessions, Scar repositions his sorted pile into the belly of the beast, very literally moving his starter house down into the insides of his travel dinosaur. You know, in case you thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Technically, I don't feel like the spinal cord would show through the stomach, but just for thematic purposes, you can see the actual spinal cord or rib cage that is going across here.
Now that the creature is pregnant with his storage, Scar adds a sort of slim version of a Y-wing spaceship for it to pull, and reveals another masterpiece of Hoffen the 3D artist, the animated little droid, to help him pilot. It's only a little too late to when Etho splashes some silverfish with the breeze effect and they launch Scar into lower orbit. But that's the Hermitcraft space program for you.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yay, Canada!
Very synergistically, Impulse SV, Tango Tech, and Skizzleman fishing rod a donkey into the sky. To their credit, it does indeed get it out of Impulse's hole, saving us at least one ass pun. It's just that full damage still applies to donkeys.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that donkey went at least 10 times higher than I thought he was gonna go.
I thought we were barely gonna clear the hole, and he was like,
"That's I'm with you."
Yeah.
Luckily, Decked Out 3 will not have such an issue thanks to Tango building a ramp leading to the castle gates, which makes the minigame wheelchair accessible but not OSHA compliant, as there are no railings. Meanwhile, a line begins forming at the bottom of the road of excited servermates eager to enter the haunted town. In 8 months or so when it's going to be finished, according to some stuff Tango said on stream.
You guys have got a little bit of waiting to do.
There is much to find out about the mega project, and much of it is in the last half of Tango's video, where he goes full exposition mode on the viewer as the time lapse of him marking out a flat slab to work with runs on the screen.
be a little flexible, and nothing is locked down yet. Also, I know that everyone's gonna have like 900 follow-up questions, and there's gonna be debates and all this stuff, and that's all good. I encourage it.
For one, we find out that Decked Out 3 will be a team scoring game to more evenly balance out the level of free time that the fellow hermits can dedicate to outing their decks. For 2 and up, just watch the thing yourself. It's the same episode where Etho, B-Dubs, and Tango steal sponges, and also Tango builds a creeper farm so efficient it clogs up hoppers.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. This is working way better than I thought it would.
Here's another cool thing they have on the server that may or may not develop. Hermitcraft actually has a data pack that allows the players to put items into their head slot. Cheats-wise, this has actually been available since Minecraft 1.6 or so. Here's some trivia for you. A gate item put on your head will look like glasses, a lead like a monocle, and an anvil like a mohawk. Someone at Mojang had fun implementing it. Jevin uses this to cover up that he doesn't have a pirate hat. And it doesn't help that King Captain Sal the Salmonhead shows up with new drip and an eye patch on his own sailboat he allegedly pilfered. Not to be upstaged by an in-game item, Jevin ransacks an ocean monument for sponges and enough prismarine to build an anchor with. We know because he does. Jevin builds what might be the first brick-and-mortar shop on the server, though he sells neither. Actually, it's just Hearts of the Sea and the sponges available here. Not even the most complicated part of a boat that he makes this week, since back on the home vessel, Jevin decides to install an armor stand display of a steering wheel.
I will put an image on the screen right now. That was my inspiration for this. In my opinion, I love it. It turned out about as good as I could possibly get it.
Pretty sure it's still beached, though. And I mean, he's not going anywhere without a crew. And it doesn't help that the pacified pillagers he hired immediately located a spot on the deck where they can take fall damage. So Jevin chose to redecorate the whole place before his new hires voluntarily walk the plank.
And to be honest with you, Sal's loving it. I'm loving it.
Wells Knight continues his feudal Japan base, and before he can get to that castle he wanted, Wells needs somewhere to keep the building materials. Turns out there's a medieval Japan storage building that he can recreate specifically for that purpose. A 2-tiered roof, and the choice of material sells the general feeling of the time period, and who knows, maybe he can get a copper golem retextured as a very short mecha eventually.
And ultimately that'll give us kind of this cute little storehouse that looks not a super complicated or fancy build, but it's not really what we were going for.
You know it's a Hermitcraft season when the XP Crafted and Corrales team-ups get into full swing. And by full swing, we mean XP sneaking up on him with a bow. At least he did that in the safety of Corrales' own home, instead of over the void of the end, as the pair of them go looking for wings and shulker boxes.
I can all be replaced.
Takes hours and hours and hours and hours, but I need the shulker boxes.
But XB's base idea has been brewing, and it involves getting a ton of copper, so he's immediately got my attention. And while the dripstone cave below his starter house proves a rich source of the metal, he also tears apart a trial chamber for the fully constructed blocks and considers moving base locations because he might have bigger plans than he has a backyard for.
Don't worry, this is not going to be just a giant copper wall. I think this season I'm actually going to expand my building. But after some chats with the neighbors and breeding some villagers for both himself and Jevin, he outlines his plans, quite literally, on the hillside around his starter house after all. A perimeter wall is considered, gradients are mentioned. We are seated, quite honestly. But XB is playing his cards close to the chest for now, and at the end of the episode he kills a wither, doesn't elaborate, and leaves. Absolute king behavior. After Skizzleman's episode begins with something we're pretty sure is the opening credits of Fight Club, but in reverse, you might expect him to destroy something beautiful. And maybe he did, considering we never saw what exactly happened to those emerald ore blocks. But my personal biases aside, Skizz actually begins creating beautiful things, time-lapsing his way to an unofficial starter base, all the while planning the route his minecart ride will take through a deep dive into the human psyche. Minecarts are noisy things though, so he contacts Tango for tips on how to silence minecarts. It's a technique that requires a lot of name tags, so luckily he also has Impulse SV on speed dial.
Hold on, ready? Check this out. This is gonna be great. Oh, mighty Dopte Nipple!
And while it is revealed that he now has to act as a squire to both Rendog and Mumbo, because he died the most when they raided the trial chamber, it seems like the thing they're not letting him forget is the time he went, Scholars of Hermitcraft history will be completely unsurprised that Impulse SV has gone straight for obtaining every enchanted book available to him through villager trading, and even left space for books that aren't in print yet.
But now he's fought the Ender Dragon from the back of a happy ghast and made an elevator out of one, he decides they're good for everything: visiting friends, sightseeing, and even selling books. I guess who needs a shopping district when you have delivery drones?
That too is going to take you some time to get out of here now.
Yeah, it sure is. But, you know, since you're out of diamonds, I am going to go. Pleasure doing business with you.
We'll watch you awkwardly take a very long time to get out of voice range.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep floating up until you can't hear me anymore.
By the time his next episode rolls around, he's ready to go end raiding with the boys, and he sets up enough shulker boxes that he can package every enchanted book ready for sale. And there are so many, he needs a chest boat and a llama to carry them all. He also needs a jingle, so people know the ice cream truck is in the neighborhood, although the music is distinctly more circusy, which makes it even more nightmarish for everyone on the server to hear at once.
What's the range on these horns, man? Is it loud?
It's so loud, I'm dying.
Oh no.
Don't be fooled by all these side projects though. Impulse is also hard at work constructing the layers of his silo base, connected by a massive spiral staircase that definitely isn't a metaphor. BOO may already be a couple of weeks into the season like the other hermits, but this is the first time his videos have fallen into the week we cover on the recap. So as far as we're concerned, he's still having flashbacks to Porkinchoppin', getting blown up while caving, and being the designated driver while his friends get hammered. B-Dubs claims a section of land on the north side of the server spawn near the aforementioned Hammer Bros, but that doesn't stop him from heading south to see how the other half live. He bumps into Tango, who has already built an entire cliff, and Scar, who has already built an entire dinosaur.
Oh, it feels giant, and it's so curvy and elegant, and he gave it toenails. I love it.
You gave it toenails?
Back at the plot of land he's claimed as a base, we discover he's also been playing Age of Empires or whatever Corrales has been up to. This historical-looking watchtower is perched on a custom-built outcrop decorated with flags and banners. And concealed within are his most important goals for the season, one of which is just to strongly dislike smallish beans, no matter how much sunshine and rainbow the guy brings into our lives. And finally there's Mumbo, who, there's no real way around it, has created a cursed resource pack.
That got me. I guess I should explain what I've done. Beautiful resource pack using Skiz's grunts from us going in the trial chamber. Whoa! You can't. But what happens if I try and trade?
After adjusting his flights of birds to make them a little less rigid, Mumbo logs back in to find his plans derailed by people playing hide and seek in his house. Also, some bits of it are on fire, but that's the latest armor stand shenanigans for you.
How are you pulling this off?
We're in the house, Mumbo. We're in the house.
Where are you, Mumbo?
Right, I found only one. I found Cleo.
Okay, now Mumbo has to find us all.
Not convinced by this level of firepower, Mumbo opts for wind power instead, and flails in creative before windmilling in survival, falling back into the buildstone aesthetic to create some animated turbines. He even draws on the screen to find the right way to make iron bars look droopy.
I think you should scoop, Mumbo, because I did the chains and you couldn't change height.
Oh, I just don't know how to build a scoop. This is gonna be worse than the geese.
Perhaps most importantly, he discovers Azuma has built a honeycomb farm, seemingly to delay his own oxidation, so Mumbo can finally wax his geese.
I don't know how he got all the way over here, to be honest with you. Oh, my base looks so cool from up here.
And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is SloyXP, and my name is PixelRiffs. Captions on this video were provided by Liara. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here, and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.